So class, talking about the urinary reflex. Usually I draw it out in class on whiteboard, but I figured there is not enough space for me to draw. Therefore, I found a short, really short. This is 1.1 minute. It's a minute and a half video, and the link is up here. I want you to watch this video and understand the basics of the micturition reflex. What is micturition? Micturition. It's a fancy term for urination. So I want you to watch this video and understand the basics. Easy peasy. It's a minute and a half long. Okay. So moving on to the urethra. The urethra is the muscular tube that helps us to eliminate urine out of the body, and it starts from the urinary bladder and then opens up to the external environment. The urethra is supported by two sphincter muscles. We have internal urethral muscles here, or internal urethral sphincter muscles, which are Rian, can you please go inside with this? Which are formed by, the internal urethral sphincter muscles are formed by thickening of the detrusor muscles, and this is under the control of the autonomic nervous system. The external urethral sphincter, which is this muscle right here, is made up of skeletal muscle, you must know, and this is voluntary, meaning we can control the movement of this muscle. And this is under the control of the somatic nervous system. So let's review. The urethra is supported by two sphincter muscles. We have the internal urethral sphincter muscles formed by thickening of the detrusor muscles, and this is under the control of the autonomic nervous system, meaning we cannot control this one. The external urethral sphincter is made up of skeletal muscle, and this is under the somatic nervous system, meaning we can control this. Now listen carefully. If you watch the micturition reflex video, you will understand this, but let me explain this one more time. Babies, can they control babies and little kids, can they control their pee? They cannot, because their brain is not developed enough to control the external urethral sphincter. So the external urethral sphincter muscle cannot be controlled by their brain. No, this doesn't happen. Their brain cannot control the external urethral muscle, and therefore whenever their bladder is full, the internal urethral sphincter muscle, which are involuntary, they relax, and kids and little babies pee in their diapers because they cannot control it. As the baby reaches, gets into a toddler, like around 3 years, his or her brain is developed enough to control the external urethral sphincter, and that's when the brain starts controlling the external urethral sphincter muscle, and this is called training, right? Kids go through this training process. And after that, obviously, once you have control over the external urethral sphincter, we don't need diapers anymore, right? All right. Female urethra, this is smaller, this is shorter, about 3 to 5 centimeter in length. It only transports urine. The female urethra is lined by non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, obviously, because there is friction, and it terminates into external urethral orifice. So it ends here at the external urethral orifice. Excuse me, class. Oof. Rian! This kid always has to talk. Okay, sorry. Okay, so looking at the male urethra is longer than the female and it has two functions. It transports urine and also sperm, so it is common to both urinary and reproductive systems. The male urethra is divided into three parts. The upper blue part that you see, that's the prostatic urethra. Then there is a small area in green, that's the membranous urethra. And then all the purple part is spongy urethra. The spongy urethra obviously is the longest portion of the male urethra. And it also terminates in the external urethral orifice. Looking at the prostatic urethra, this is 3 to 4 centimeters in length. This is most dilatable and this is lined by transitional epithelium. You must remember this. All right. All right, there are ducts associated with it, but don't worry about it right now. We'll talk about that more in reproductive system. And then it also contains the internal urethral sphincter right here. This is the internal urethral sphincter, which is made up of thickening of the detrusor muscles. The membranous urethra, which is the shortest portion in green, so that's the membranous urethra. This is the least dilatable segment of the male urethra. This is made up of lined by stratified columnar epithelium, and this area is associated with the external urethral sphincter muscles. Remember, those are voluntary muscles and those are made up of skeletal muscles. Moving on to the spongy urethra, this is the longest segment, about 15 centimeter in length. The spongy urethra is associated with erectile tissue, which helps in erection, and we will talk about that more in reproductive system. The spongy urethra is lined with pseudostratified columnar to stratified squamous epithelial cells, and it also terminates in external urethral sphincter right here. Sorry, external urethral orifice. And that concludes our lecture on the urinary system. I will try to keep my lecture on the reproductive system super short, and that's all for the semester. Also, if you have not finished your endocrine quiz, please go ahead, study the videos, fill out the study guide, and take the quiz when you have time. The deadline for the endocrine quiz is May 19th, so you have few days left, so pay attention to that too.